Hello dear World of Warcraft friends, welcome back to a new video on my channel. Today we want to talk a bit about patch 12.0.7. A question I get asked regularly is it worth playing patch 12.0? Is it fun? Is it cool? Whatever, we want to talk about that. It's important to mention that this is a purely subjective matter, so just because I like it doesn't necessarily mean you'll like the patch too. At this point, we can go through a few stories and some content. Um, but yeah, in the end, you'll only really know if it's good if you test it out for yourself. Otherwise, just a quick reminder, leave a like, subscribe. It's always very, very easy to say, and I know it's annoying, but we're right in the middle of the biggest YouTube summer slump, and every little bit helps me to keep doing this work alongside my actual job. That's why thank you for your support. In principle, we won't go into too much detail now about which content was new in the patch. Probably the biggest change you can see here right now are the new mini-worlds Val and Nighttal with heroic world mode, with new world quests, with new world bosses, and so on. There's the Omnium folio, which is something you can use to improve your character's strength. Turbulent Timeways are coming back, but they'll only be available starting Wednesday, which means faster leveling and more gear. A new campaign part will be coming, but that will also be the week after next, so it'll take a little while. So there's quite a lot in it with new lore walking and so on. So one thing I really want to rate very, very positively is the fact that Blizzard has really come up with quite a lot here. Normally these small patches come with a few standard recipes, but getting new areas in such patches is relatively rare. Personally, I really like that because more variety is always pretty cool. And I already see that as a positive for the patch. It feels cool. I like the areas, especially this snowy zone here. Nagtal isn't really my thing, but that's okay. Like I said, it's really a matter of personal taste. I like that quite a lot. I also personally really, really like the heroic world mode. That's what we're currently playing in. At the beginning, I kind of asked myself who the target audience for this world mode actually is. It's recommended to go in there with item level 274. If you have a lower item level, you probably won't have much fun on your own because everything will just knock you out. On the other hand, I think it's mainly aimed at people who are somewhere between heroic and mythic gear who don't run mythic dungeons. For example, you get through this quest here, Confrontations on Val. Now you can get mythic crests from open world content through this quest, otherwise you get heroic crests and so on from world quests. I'll be honest, because I was really, really lazy, I still need a few more on the owl. And being able to do all this through other content besides mythic, personally, I don't think that's a bad thing. Personally, with item level 288, I don't really have any problems with the mobs here. So I found that the heroic world here in Legion Remix actually felt a bit more difficult at times. But you definitely notice the jump from normal to heroic. And for everyone who wants a bit of challenging content in the open world, I think it's definitely a good thing for them. Then we can't judge that yet because it's not here yet, but it'll be like in the past. Turbulent Timeways, cool event, level up faster, you get an exclusive mount. You get heroic gear every week through time walking dungeons. You really can't go wrong with that. The quest lines so far, I mean, everything related to the intro here were not very spectacular, I would say. But everything, yeah, was within reason, I would say. I haven't played Lore Walking and so on. I probably won't play it either. That's not really my target audience right now. I'm not the target audience for this content, but that's something I want to say up front. All in all, patch 12.1 has completely revolutionized the game now. Nope. But it has for a patch 12.0.7, that's the right way around, of course. but it really has for one of those 0.5, 0.57 patches given the game. That should express the balance. Added lots and lots of content that I wouldn't necessarily have expected. And personally, I like that. So as of now, I actually have nothing to complain about regarding the patch itself. I also don't feel forced to do anything anymore. Ritual sites now have a level which lets you farm mythic crests solo. If you want to, you just saw it here. For killing this world boss on Mythic on HC, we got 15 Mythic crests and 15 HC crests. So I'll be honest with you. It's not really must-have content in the sense of if you don't play it, you're not really missing out on anything. But in the sense of, hey, if I don't feel like farming Mythic Plus all the time, just quickly getting 15 crests from the world boss and so on and so forth, I think that's pretty awesome. So just having the option, I like that. In general, I like how Blizzard is putting a good amount of focus on open world content. Again, I'm not really the direct target audience for this, but I think it's good to have a lot of variety and for everyone to just play what they enjoy. I'm a big supporter of that. And all in all, yes, in my personal opinion, the game benefits quite a lot from that. This Omnium Foliant, I find it a bit lacking at this point. But that's mainly because you just can't really do much with the bonuses available so far, you know? That thing only gets a lot better later on. But all in all, when it comes to the basic content of the patch, I'm really satisfied with it. My only criticism would be time gating once again, so I don't know. Especially now at the beginning, to be honest, this Omnium Foliant doesn't really feel that great. Because the good talents only come in 2 or 3 weeks. So, I understand why Blizzard says you shouldn't unlock all of this at once. But, well, I don't know. If a feature only really becomes useful once it's fully unlocked, do those 5 weeks on the way there even make sense? You know what I mean? I think that kind of devalues the system a bit until then, because you just think, well, my god, it's just not really useful yet. So I think that's a bit of a shame on the one hand. Then Turbulent, Timeways are time-gated. The quest campaign with Sul'Jan is time-gated. This has to do with the fact that it will introduce some things from patch 12.1, but again, right? So, I understand why they're doing it, but if you release a patch and, I don't know, 30 pieces of content aren't actually playable until a month later, I don't think that's cool. I don't think that's cool. I'm being honest with you. In my opinion, that could be handled better. Will that happen? No, most likely it won't. Because Blizzard has always taken the approach here. We want people to play as long as possible. And we want to achieve that by not giving them everything right away, because otherwise they might be done on the very first day. In my opinion, that's not the right way to keep people playing, but it's the way Blizzard has chosen here. I can't say anything else about it. What do you think? Feel free to write your opinion in the comments. So, as I said, overall, I'm really satisfied with the patch. It's nothing that completely reinvents the wheel. Yeah, you have to say that too. But, personally, I like it for the most part. And everything else is, again, very, very much a matter of taste. But alright, feel free to write your opinion about it in the comments. And with that, I thank you very much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, and with that, see you again in the next video. Take care. Don't forget, drink plenty of fluids in this weather. And yeah, with that, until then, take care.